All right, so let's talk very quickly about sort of online advertising share and shifts. And then I'm going to talk about some of the new products going to roll out, because I think I have something like 30 minutes, so I'll try to be very, very quick, and we have a Q&A afterwards. Right? So, you hear a lot about this, right? I think one of the challenges, as I mentioned, particularly over the last couple of years, is just, the media landscape continues to change very, very quickly, very, very fast. And, it's not even a question of should I spend money online. I think that question has been answered in my mind, right? In most countries right now, the average in most of Western Europe and most of North Asia and North America, the ranges of total media spend for every $100, something close to $10 to $15 is actually spent online. So I think when you take a look at these trends, the reality that this is going to happen here, I actually think it's going to happen much faster. But the question right now is, even within online, there isn't just confusion in regards to how much money do I move onto the online space. Even within the online space, there is a lot of questions of how do I allocate my budget, right? So let's talk about the three things that you hear a lot about. And this slide is basically one I stole from Aegis Media from France. So this is bot media. So this is about branding display. This is an area that we specialize in. The display business is Yahoo's bread and butter. The branding display business is where I actually think over the next 3 or 4 years where there's going to be a lot more innovations and where most of the growth needs to happen. The direct response, this could be search. Search does an awesome, awesome job of direct response. And that's part of the growth of our friends at Google and also our search business and with Microsoft's business. There's also the direct response from a display side. There's a lot of really interesting things happening on the direct response side, and we're going to cover this in a little bit more detail in my workshop, the Yahoo workshop tomorrow. We can talk a little bit more about where some of the innovations happening there. Owned media. When we talk about owned media, I think I missed part of Colin's presentation, but they talked about content, and you saw on the panel how content is becoming very, very important. This could be a couple of things. Number one, if you are a company or an advertiser and you don't have a good website, shame on you, right? That's the first space that people go to check you out. I think the other thing, interesting things are happening is like brand and entertainment and content is becoming really, really important now. So we have a partnership with Procter & Gamble globally, and this has mainly been in the Americas, where they've actually provided video content about sort of helping users use Procter & Gamble products, hair care, these kind of things, that we actually distribute and that we actually sell as part of a package with the media buy. And you're going to see more and more of these type of deals, whether they're product placement deals, content distribution deals from advertisers. That is going to be the next big thing, particularly in video, because as I mentioned to you, as broadband grows faster and grows deeper, the reality is that video is going to be more and more important over the next couple of years. And actually, my hypothesis is from a overall advertising spend, as I mentioned, TV has been very, very stable right now. I think in the next 3 or 4 years, you are going to start seeing much of this money actually shift online. And actually, I think you're going to see actually TV actually go online specific, IPTV. And last of all, which is what we talked about, is earned media. And this is more than just Facebook or LinkedIn or Twitter. The interesting thing about earned media is how this has shifted the landscape. Is that in the old days, word of mouth was very, very important. This has become even more important now in the online space, because the things that for example, you have a bad service or bad product, it gets amplified 100 times, and that's why it's incredibly difficult to actually manage. So one of the things why a lot of the big brands who are used to having a lot of control have challenges in this area is how you engage in conversations with your users. It's not enough to basically set up a Facebook brand page or fan page. Is you have to have people monitoring and watching it. One of the examples I showed is there was an airline company, and they had a Facebook page, and they kind of set it up and they never monitored. There were people bashing the airline, and there was nobody addressing this. And so when I talk about earned media, this is media from the services and product that the service and products. If you provide a good service, word gets around. You provide a bad service and bad product, word gets around, and you have to be visible in all these different avenues. All right? Does that make sense so far? Good. All right, so let's talk about the science part. Science is a couple things, right? And we're talking about the science of targeting, as we mentioned, about the interactivity of online. Think about all the data that we actually collect. Yahoo collects close to 10 terabytes of data. Like what on a daily basis. What the hell does that mean? That's equivalent to 2 to 3 Library of Congresses in the world. Library of Congress is the biggest library of books. we're collecting that amount of data about people. And how we use this data is we build ad products that actually can target them better. And basically, the better you target, the better the campaign performs. We also allows us to understand our users much better, so we can actually build really, really cool audience products and deliver the right content for them. And so the three things I'm going to talk very, very quickly about is direct response, smart ads, and behavioral targeting. All right. Okay. So you hear a lot about behavioral targeting, and this has been a product that's been available with Yahoo close to, let's say, about 10, 11 years right now. We're on version 3 right now. Because we collect all this data, this is very powerful, right? You think about the old days when you are a finance advertiser and you want to advertise to target people who are interested in finance. What you would do is you basically put ads in Yahoo Finance. Okay, great, and that's fantastic, right? You pay a high premium for it, and it works very well. I think what we want to do is basically how do you now that we understand these users much better, how do we target these users in a non-contextual fashion so we can add more value to the user experience? Because the reality is that I actually think users don't mind getting advertising as long as it's very relevant for them, as long as the creative is good. And my view on this, and I think Yahoo's perspective is behavioral targeting works very well. We typically charge 3 to 4 times the price because we take a look at a couple things, right? We take a look, and I'm sorry, this is a little bit blurry. We take a look at the content people are clicking on. We take a look at the ads that they're clicking on. We take a look at also the search clicks that they're actually clicking on. We take all these things, and depending on the product, we actually have 18 PhDs working on formulas on different products that actually specific for these products. So we have for example, a credit card product, or we have a finance automotive product. We have something close to about 1,000 different categories of this behavioral targeting. And if you guys want to hear more about this, we'll also be talking in a little bit more detail tomorrow in our workshop. And this product delivers click-throughs close to, and I hate that term, why it's just click-throughs, and let's talk about conversions. We see conversion rates doubling, in some cases even going up to 5 to 10 times, and it works. All right, so the other thing is really the marketing funnel, right? And what I talked about was where we see a lot of the focus in the last, I would say last 10 to 15 years in the online space has really been the direct response side. We're so focused on the sort of the bottom of the funnel, right? The who delivered the final click. And there is value there, right? There's no question. And I actually think that's part of the reason for the growth of search. I actually think that where we're missing a lot of the big budgets and missing a lot of the shifts is in the top of the funnel. Okay. So and I'm not going to spend that much time on this slide, is that because we collect a lot of this data, we understand what users are doing all across the different parts of our site. And where we focus so much energy on just this last bottom part of this, because of the data that we have, we can actually target them in all different elements and all different modes. And we recently rolled out this research in the US which talked about different modes, consumer modes, right? And how receptive they are to advertising. So for example, users are actually much more receptive to advertising in entertainment content sites, say versus like a mail or e-commerce site. It just depends on the mode they're in, or even a social networking site. And this is research we'll probably share. It's a US data research, but we'll provide this for you because I think it's actually very interesting. Because most users at the end of the day, 80 to 90% of our behaviors are more or less the same across the globe, as I believe I've seen. And one of the things that's actually very interesting about this is that, depending on sort of where they are, part of the funnel, what they're doing on the site, there are great opportunities to target them that is going to drive much more receptivity to your advertising. All right. So one of the things we talked about, the introducer, the influencer, the closer. What we have is we have products that can actually address all 3 of these parts of the funnel. That's the main point. So one of the cool products that we just rolled out in the US. We're in the process actually rolling out in Western Europe, and we're in the process of actually evaluating, and we're testing here in Romania is this thing called a smart ad. Let this build first. And we're not the only ones that do this. Google has this as well too. So what this is basically, think about the old days of actually being able to optimize. A lot of this stuff was done. Your ad agency would build a couple creative, target a couple things, and most of the optimization was actually done manually. Very, very painful, right? Last 2 years, we rolled out a product called Smart Ads, which is basically templated ads. And these are done for very, very big campaigns, right? These aren't done for $2,000 ad campaigns. These are done for $200,000 campaigns because you need wide coverage. And what this does is basically it basically optimizes the campaigns depending on the performance. And so what this means is you can have 11 different messages, 43 different product features, 8 images, 43 backgrounds, and 6 promotional offers. And think about, this is about 272,000 different ad variations being shown. And it's very powerful, and it self-optimizes. Think about this, right? This is where the display business is going. And this is where the science, when I talk about the science of display, this is actually where the business is going. So we recently bought a company named Dapper. And at Google, they have Terracent. These are 2 companies, best of breed in the world. The only 2 companies in the world that do this very well. The other product, let's talk about the art part now. So, and this is a product that's actually available now here in Romania. So if you guys have any questions about this, talk to me or talk to our friends over at Media Cafe, and we can actually get you set up. So what it is, as you know, IM environments are basically downloadable sheets that you can actually, I'll show you some examples here, but think about the brand image that this actually shows. People are actually optionally downloading this and showing this on their on their messenger. And these are some examples. And this is a live one. It's a Vodafone one. And this one's very cool, the Sharpie one. So this is actually something you can actually download right now. And so when I talk about sort of the art part, think about all the interesting creative things you can do on a platform like this. And this is available right away. So this is one that is actually in process. We're looking at rolling this out next year with the launch of Yahoo Romania, which my friend Matt is going to talk about. We just rolled this out in June. So I know many of you guys are mail users. We talked about the art, right, and having a big canvas and big platform to do really cool creative features. Think about the brand impact that an ad like this actually delivers. And so this is actually a Yahoo House ad. Let me show you some real live examples. So this is Ford. The 2011 Explorer, this is in the US. This is Chevy Equinox. You see that? And Scottrade, and the last one, which I think you saw an example of this one, the Chevy Malibu. Huge. The brand impact, these are advertisers who are incredibly happy with this. And these are some of the things I talked about when I talk about sort of brand impact and the innovation that's happening on the display side. I think you're going to see more and more of these things. I mean, think about you as an advertiser, or if you're an agency with one of your clients, wouldn't you love to have an advertising like this, right? If just the impact and it's a great canvas of things that you can actually do from a creativity perspective.